Hello friends and welcome back to another review. This one is a little bit more special than the previous three that I've done. This time I am looking at Chrono Cross, and Chrono Cross's achievement list for completion. So let's get into it. Okay, so Chrono Cross was a JRPG. I always say JRPG. It's an RPG made by Squaresoft back in the 90s. For PlayStation 1, this game never actually released over here in Europe, so this is the first time I got to play it. I did complete a full Let's Play for this game, I think 2 years ago now, possibly 3. That's already up on the channel. You can go and watch that whenever. I did go back recently in between the Chemco RPGs that I've been playing to have a palate cleanser sort of every time I completed one. I'd do a day on this just to try to get the full completion. And I wanted to try to give it another chance because there are bits about the game that I didn't particularly like. So, first off, we're going to talk about the story, because the story is easily the best. I'd say easily the best part. Music might be a little bit better, but the story is basically you play as Surge. Now, in the game, Surge bounces between two different dimensions. One where he's very much alive, and the other one where a certain event happens and he dies. So he either lives in one or he dies in the other. So it's very much like dimension theory of reality, the idea that there's several different dimensions all running parallel to each other, where certain actions take place differently in each one, and at least the different outcomes and stuff like that, which is really cool science theory, and that's something that I really love. So for me, that part of the story is amazing. Now, this is a spiritual successor to Chrono Trigger. It's not a full sequel, although it is kind of like the Chrono name. There are characters from Chrono Trigger that are in this game. So it's is it a sequel, is it not? It can be a bit confusing as to whether it is or not. There are certain events that happen during this that are spoken about in Chrono Trigger. It's part of the lore, but it's not a direct sequel. It's really cool how they've done the story, and weird at the same time, and I'm completely here for that. So generally the story is you go through the various different dimensions. You as Surge can hop back and forwards. You get to a point halfway through and you find the frozen flame that you're looking for the first half of the story, and Surge gets body transferred into this other character called Lynx, and then you play half the game as Lynx and you get your body back, and then when you think that you've beaten the big bad guy in the game, who was the person that took over Surge in the first place, Lynx, you then find out that the dragons that helped you to defeat Lynx are actually the bad guys overall, and it's just they're reptiles that were originally rulers of the world millions and millions of years ago, before Lavos showed up. And it's just it comes back to that idea that although it's not a full-on sequel, there are various bits of Chrono Trigger that are important to this story without actually being sort of directly involved with it. The story writing is so good. And as I said, the one thing that probably beats the story writing is the music. Now, I don't think I've got the music on high enough for you to hear it, but it should be just there in the background though, hopefully. The music in some of the places in this is so good, especially like this piece here. This is really good. There's bits where somber events happen. That music's really good. The battle theme is pretty good. There's just various different points, like the world map music changes between the home world and the parallel universe, another world. So the home world and the another world both have different world map music, but they're both like amazing. So yeah, I think the main take for me is that I will very much remember fondly the music and the story. However, it's not without its criticisms. I don't know how the original game played. I did play this pretty much on launch. I think I played it on like a month or so after launch. It did have issues with achievements unlocking on launch. There was various achievements that I did what you needed to do for them and it didn't unlock, which is annoying. But when it's something like this where there's multiple endings, it wasn't too bad. I think I've finished the game like 4 times now or something like that. So that the achievements not unlocking is like, it's not too bad, but at the time obviously it was kind of like people wanted to play it and get it done, and with the achievements not unlocking, yeah. I don't know whether there's any other issues with the game, like graphically or anything like that, just because, as I said, I've never played the first game. The original release, it never released over here in Europe. We never got it. So this is this is completely my first time of playing it. We never actually got Chrono Trigger over here until the Nintendo DS. Like, legitimately. I played Chrono Trigger as a ROM. I did download that whilst I was in high school and played it. But yeah, like, I don't know whether there's any technical issues with it. For me, my main issue with the game was the battle system wasn't great. The whole idea of like the different tiers of attacks was fine. Like, you can attack physically and you have a level 1, level 2 and level 3, and there's like a stamina system to it. And then you've got an element board, and you can put elements on the element board, and you can customize your character however you want. And then there's like, each character has their own elements that like are more powerful to them, and they can equip summons with that. There's lots going on with the battle system, and I don't think it necessarily all meshes together well. There's that. And then on top of that, I do not like at all the level up system. I thought the level up system was a bit redundant. Basically, the only way to level up in the game is by beating bosses. That's the only way you can level up. You beat a boss, you get a level up star. Fine. The only way for you to then gain stat points is by fighting the next 2 or 3 monsters that you come across. The next 2 or 3 groups of monsters that you come across. Which is like, in essence, that's okay. It kind of makes sense on paper. But then it kind of gets rid of any need to fight any other monsters ever after that. So once you've got your 3 stat point raises, there's then no reason to fight anything else. So it kind of makes all of the enemies that you come across redundant. And you kind of don't want to do that when you designed all of these various different monsters in the game. Like, you basically say, oh, you don't need to fight any of these. Like, I think they could have done the level up system better. I think a normal level up system would have been fine for the game. They were trying to do a lot of things differently. Like, the story was very groundbreaking. The music's really good. The combat's very different from anything else they'd done. They were trying to make it separate from something like Final Fantasy. I get that. It's fine. They could have left the level up system as it was, though. They've just done a basic experience point system. So, they're my gripes and my positives for the game. Let's look at the achievement list. So, the achievement list for this game, as I said before, originally, some of the achievements didn't unlock just because of issues with the game, so they're all kind of out of sequence. For instance, this first achievement that I'm supposed to get is by waking up right at the start of the game. You do like a first little dungeon thing and then you wake up, and that's supposed to be the first achievement. And as you can see, I didn't get that. My first achievement was for running away from a battle. And then the next one was defeating Lynx at Fort Dragonia. Fort Dragonia is quite a bit into the game. It's sort of like the first third. Revisit the labyrinth of Fort Dragonia for the first time. That's the first achievement that you're supposed to get. Why unlock there? Oh, no, sorry. No. That is supposed to be before that one. Because that's the revisit. That's not the first time you visit. So, when you go to Fort Dragonia, you go through the same labyrinth that you're supposed to go through at the start of the game. I'm not entirely sure why. Are they on different? No, they're not on different days. I'm not entirely sure why they unlocked in that order, but yeah. I used Harley's unique level 7 tech, so some of the characters get, or all of the characters, I think all of the characters get their own unique level 7 tech. Some of them get various different techs at other levels. That one is for the character for Harley, so that's that. And then obviously I've used Lynx's as well. Defeated Dario and reforged Surge's Sea Swallow into the Mastermune. The Mastermune is a sword that appears in the game which has evil intentions and corrupts the mind of the person who is using it. That's a side quest that you can do. Is one of the best weapons that you can get in the game without getting the materials for rainbow weapons. Defeat Dark Surge at Fort Dragonia. So you go back to Fort Dragonia and you defeat yourself, basically. Surge's level 7 tech, the Flying Arrow. Arrive at Chronopolis, the Time Fortress. That's right near the end of the game. And then you defeat Fate. Fate's the boss of Chronopolis. Obtain the Chrono Cross. So the Chrono Cross is a item in the game that you can get, which is important for another achievement later on. 2 other achievements actually. It's a very special element. Defeat the evolved form of the Time Devourer. That's the final boss. That's the achievement that you're supposed to get when you originally start the game. So my original playthrough ended on the 12th of June 2022. I decided to go back and play the game a little bit back in April. I was going to play through it then and then played it a little bit and stopped. But yeah, that's the first achievement that you were supposed to unlock. As you can see, I have, as I said, that's the final boss. I had finished the game. You are supposed to get achievements related to endings there, and I didn't because it just wasn't unlocking them, which is great. Ending 1, the developer's room. So once you finish the game, you get an item called the Time Egg. The timer can be used on the Odessa Beach, I think it's called. You can use the time egg on a particular spot on the beach, and you can go and fight the final boss again any time during the story. This is how you get all of these various different endings. So for this one, it's literally a case of starting the game, going straight to the beach, and fighting the final boss again. As Surge by himself, like, just straight there, fight the final boss. And that's only you unlock ending 1. This one, successfully feed the dragons 100 times in the dragon feeding minigame. Once you go to Viper Manor, which is one of the first like major plot points in the story, there's a minigame that you play that you have to play to get a key to get into the manor. This one requires... To get the key itself, you only need to do it 10 times, which is easy. This one requires you to do it 100 times. Now, I assume it was probably really difficult to do with the original game. This one does have a slow down option, so you can slow everything down and it'll just makes it 10 times easier. So that's not too bad. Triumph in 500 battles. As you can see, I played through the entire game, came back to it, and then managed to get the 500 battles. So it's kind of like you can see why you don't need to fight like the majority of the enemies in the game, because you don't. That's why I've only got 500 battles there. Complete the Grand Slam. Now, the Grand Slam is another minigame side quest that is on the SS Selbus. I think might be the Invincible. It's basically the same ship, but one of them is the home world and one of them is the another world. But this is a monster fighting game. You pit 3 monsters versus 3 monsters, and they fight against each other. You can capture monsters during the game using the Forget-Me-Not pot, I think it's called. I think that's what the item's called. And you can use them, and you can do it all tactically, or you can use the invincibility accessibility option and just do it that way, which is what I did to get the achievement. 10,000 points in the Compass Roulette minigame. This one requires a lot of luck. It's basically, there is a roulette minigame that you can play. It will land on the 4 compass points, north, east, south and west. If it lands on south, you lose straight away. If it lands on west, it gives you plus 50. If you land on north, it doubles your points, and if you land on east, it's minus 50. So you need to get all the way up to 10,000 points. So basically, you need to get the north one, like, a lot. For that one, there is a small exploit that you can do. If you hold down the A button just before the spin starts, it will give you the next compass point. So if you are on west and you hold down the A button before the spin starts, it will give you north, so you can double your points. It's not foolproof, because you can obviously, if you're doing that, you will eventually get south. So you need to sort of go west, north, and then east, and then do a spin to get something new, and then hope it's not south. So that took a little bit to do. And then we've got other various endings. So you've got the 5th ending, Roberta Marbule, The Last Stand. These are all various different points during the game. It's best to look these up online to figure out exactly where they are, because, as I said, they basically activate at various points during the game. So it's kind of, you need to know where they are. Yeah, they normally after like a particular event or something. There's one of them that requires a particular choice. Well, I suppose two of them, but I'll get onto that in a sec. Create a rainbow weapon and a piece of rainbow armor. You need to get the blacksmith for this, so that you can get the special smithing soul to be able to make your own weapons and armor. For the rainbow weapons and armor, you need a particular material. That material is shining, and then the various different elements. For those, I did, because obviously I finished the game by this point and was on the second playthrough, I had items that could break down to give me enough materials to make a armor piece or a weapon. So I did a weapon and then reloaded and did the armor piece. Easy enough. There are other ways to get them. You can like use a summon to get special the special material that way, or you can steal items from various different enemies and then break those items down. I found that I had enough, so I did it that way. Use the Dragon God relics at the Dead Sea Ruins to enter the seaweed, and that's another story one that I should have gotten the first time round and it didn't pop. That's basically you defeat all 6 of the dragons and then you go into the Dead Sea Ruins in the home world, and it's basically different from the Another World version. I think you can see an ending based on that. Triple check Z/. That requires you to have a particular monster caught for Spriggan. Yeah, you can only catch once you finish the game once. Spriggan needs to change into that character, and then I think you need Glenn and Surge to do the Z/. Might be wrong. Not 100% certain on that. Kids unique level 7 tech Hotshot. Hotshot you get by doing a particular sequence at a machine in Luca's orphanage during a dream sequence. That again gives you the sort of link back to Chrono Trigger. Luca is one of the characters in Chrono Trigger. She's very prevalent in the story here for Kid, which is pretty cool. See, the bad ending is basically go to the final boss and beat the final boss. Like, that's the bad ending, basically. The good ending requires you to use particular elements on the final boss in a particular order, and then use the Chrono Cross, and then you get the good ending. I can't remember what the order was. I think it's like yellow, green, red, blue, black, white, potentially. That may be wrong. You best off looking that up, to be honest. But yeah, that's the good ending. I would have originally gotten that when I finished the game the first time round, but it didn't unlock. So, yeah. Ending 2, the Acacian Empire. So, I think it's that one. That one requires you to finish the game without choosing Nikki and getting Rasley. You need to have Nikki and Rasley for ending 3. Ending 2 gives you Pierre. I'm not sure whether selecting Guile gives you that ending as well. But that one is, like, that's Pierre. You work in a shop and, like, Pierre shows up. I think that's the one. Might be wrong. Might be the next one. Level 99 for growth stars. So, at this point, I'm on my 3rd playthrough. I think there's something like 48 stars that you can get in a playthrough, which would give you 96 with 2 full playthroughs. So yeah, it's like you need to be on your 3rd playthrough. I know that's the Pierre one. So the other one was like not. Ignore that. This is the Pierre one. So this one you need Pierre. And then Hall of Framer, collect 15 different types of window frames. Doing various side quests and stuff will give you various different window frames for the windows when people are talking and stuff like that. You can get them throughout the game. I was missing one. That one was connected to a character. So that was fairly easy to get. Triple Tech Delta Force. This is a level 7 tech force that combines Surge's Luminaire, which is level 5. I think it's Kid's Hot Shot. No, it's not. It's Lean's Maiden Faith, and then Rasley's level 7 as well. To get Lean's or Len's level 7 Maiden Faith, it's literally come back. Once you turn back into Surge, come back here and talk to Dr. Grandmother or a grandmother, and she'll give it you, which is easy enough. Rasley's, you need to save Rasley at the start of the game, so you need to have Rasley. Once you go to get the Ice Breath, you don't save Rasley's friend, and don't take Rasley with you. Apparently taking Rasley with you will automatically save Rasley's friend. Don't save Rasley's friend, and then you go back near the end of the game and you pay respects to Rasley's friend's grave. I forget what her name is. She wasn't important to the story. And that gives you Rasley's best weapon and the level 7 tech. And then you use them in battle and it gives you the achievement. Magical Dreamers requires you to pick Nikki when you get to Viper Manor, and then you need to play the game through until you get Rasley, and then have Rasley and Nikki in your party when you fight the boss, basically, when you go and finish off the game on the Odessa Beach. And finally, the last achievement, the Recruiter. So this requires you to recruit all party members. Now, you can't recruit all party members in one playthrough. There are 2 points in the game where you're forced to pick party members. Viper Manor has 3 options. You can have Guile, Nikki, or Pierre. So you need to play up to Viper Manor at least 3 times. And then there's an option after you do the events of Viper Manor of to whether you want to help Kid who's poisoned or don't help Kid. If you don't help Kid, nothing bad happens. She gets better anyway. But we'll join later on. Whereas if you help Kid, she joins back straight away. Depending on whether you help Kid or not, depends on whether you get 3 characters. There's a split between 3 characters. And then, on top of that, to get Harley, you need to complete a game where Harley is in your party. It will only let you summon party members, basically. So you have to finish... after you do the events of Fort Dragonia, you have to finish the game there. You have to do one of the endings to get Harley. Then, to even do this achievement, you need to get to a point where you have the Chrono Cross. The Chrono Cross doesn't get pulled over with New Game Plus or Continue Plus. So that's like right at the end of the game. You need to get the Chrono Cross again. Then go to the Hydra Marches and activate that. Activate the Chrono Cross. Activate a special portal which takes you back to Spriggan's place so that you can activate the Chrono Cross, and then it will give you every single character in the game. And that is Chrono Cross. The achievement list is rather difficult and time consuming, and I'm very glad that I took the time to go back and 100% complete this, to be honest. The music's, as I said, the music's fantastic. The story is really good. Going back and replaying it for a second time and giving it more of a chance. As I said, I didn't like the combat. I didn't like the level up system. I mean, the combat you can kind of sort of get to grips with, but the level up system is just terrible. That's really the biggest black spot on the game, is that like the level up system's not great. But yeah, I enjoyed Chrono Cross. I'd definitely give it like a 9 out of 10. Like, it's right up there with one of the best RPGs I've played. And yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next review.